As a provincial representative of the people and families of Vaughan Woodbridge, I am very grateful to have the opportunity to work within this territory. It is truly an honor to be here today with all of you and to welcome my good friend, colleague, and Ontario's Minister of Long-Term Care, Rod Phillips. Welcome to the beautiful riding of Vaughan Woodbridge. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our community here in Vaughan Woodbridge was hit hard by this terrible virus. It affected many of our seniors in long-term care and impacted on the mental wellness of the many families here. I spent many days visiting local homes and meeting with families of our senior residents, as well as meeting many of the residents themselves. Although our community was hit hard during this pandemic, thanks to the hard work of so many people, families, and countless healthcare workers in our community, we have been making incredible progress in our fight against COVID-19. As many of you know, our government made a promise to move our seniors away from extensive wait lists and into a modern long-term care home structure that provides a comfortable, warm, and safe environment with the high-quality care that our seniors and their families expect and deserve. And you will hear from Minister Phillips shortly. We are truly delivering on that promise. In 2020, 3 pieces of unused government land were put up for sale on the condition that they become sites for long-term care facilities. We are standing on one of those properties right now. The ministry used a fair and highly competitive process to determine the winning bid. And I'm incredibly pleased that a brand new long-term care home can be built in the heart of our community. This new home will provide many of our loved ones with a modern, safe, and comfortable place to live. This is truly amazing news for our community, and thank you to everyone for making this possible. As the MPP of Vaughan Woodbridge, I will continue being a strong voice and advocate for our seniors and ensure that we get our loved ones into long-term care homes sooner in an environment where they are fully supported. Thank you so much for being here today, and I'd now like to turn over to Minister Phillips, who will make some additional comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. It's great to be here in Vaughan Woodbridge with my colleague, the Honourable Michael Tobolo, a great representative for this riding in this community. Also with his partner here in Vaughan, Stephen Lecce, the Honourable Stephen Lecce, the Minister of Education. I was commenting to Mayor Bevilacqua before. It's a real wonderful thing for the community of Vaughan to have 2 such influential ministers here in this community, and I'm very pleased they're here with me today. I'm also enormously pleased that the Mayor of Vaughan, Maurizio Bevilacqua, is here with us today. The old saying goes, they say if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears, the tree didn't fall. Well, if something happens in Vaughan and Maurizio Bevilacqua isn't there, then I'm not sure it happened. So Maurizio, thank you for joining us for this important announcement. We're here on the site of some currently provincially owned land. This is land that was bought by the province in the 70s and 80s. And has been used for a variety of uses. A portion of that land was used to build a municipal sports facility. There's a baseball diamond and soccer fields nearby. But part of our government's focus on long-term care is about making sure that facilities are built in some of the communities where that can be most difficult. And as everybody across the GTA knows, one of the challenges in the GTA is affordability and, of course, the cost of property. So that's why, as Minister Tobolo mentioned, I'm very proud to be here on this site, here in Vaughan, where we are announcing the fact that we will be building a new 200 arm prior just outside Ottawa, over 100 beds on both of those locations, again, new beds. And again, today, here we are in Vaughan on the site of another new location. The province has signed a conditional standings, full air conditioning, and culturally appropriate services focused on the Italian community that is so dominant here in the Vaughan area. Now, removing the barriers that developers face, that we face in terms including provincial land, is just one of the solutions that our provincial government has come up with to make sure we...
Long-term care, your planning department, your mayor, and the TRCA, as we work towards beginning construction and eventually welcoming residents, which we hope will be late in the fall of 2024.
And give this property life to where we can come back in a few years and observe the fact that we now have an extra 256 beds of long-term care. I do want to say that this capital is being used wisely. It is land capital that is turned into social capital, that is providing a very important, providing an opportunity. And I'm very happy to see that we have a caring private sector that is joined with the government to provide this important and vital service. Minister Phillips, Minister Lecce, Minister Tibolo, I want to thank you for this investment. I want to thank you for recognizing the needs of our community, the real needs of our community, human needs of our community. And it speaks to the fact that you have the great capacity to have really your feet on the ground, literally, addressing the needs of the city of Vaughan, its seniors, and specifically the community, Minister, that you correctly pointed out in your remarks. I want to also say that on behalf of City Council, we want to thank you for helping us build a city. I often say that city building is a labor of love, and you need partners to make it happen. You need partners to actualize the true potential of our city, and I'm happy to be here with three great partners who have given us the opportunity to hope for a better tomorrow for the seniors who will be here, being taken care of in a very loving way and compassionate way by individuals who give of themselves day in and day out to improve the human condition. So to all of you, thank you so much. And as I often say, I look forward to the next announcement here in the city of Vaughan by the province of Ontario, so that we collectively can continue to build the great city that the city of Vaughan is. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first off just express my gratitude to my colleague Michael Tibolo for his advocacy for this project here for the people of Vaughan. It is going to benefit every single resident in our community because we need more long-term care spaces. We know so many families that are waiting, and this announcement, this support, and this innovative partnership that emerged here with the province providing the land, with a willing private sector partner to dedicate this for our seniors, is a great outcome for so many of our the greatest generation. And I know providing culturally responsive services for the Italian community is something we need more of, and we welcome and we support. So we thank Minister Phillips for his leadership, the Mayor for his partnership. And I also just want to say, in the concept of building, yes, we are building a new long-term care facility here in the city of Vaughan, but we have just completed and just opened following the build of the new Cortellucci Vaughan Hospital that's going to add support and care for our seniors, for our families, for our kids. $1.7 billion investment in the city that is making a meaningful difference, that stepped up to support the pandemic response and now supporting families in our community. We just built and opened the hospice. Hospice Vaughan, a $2 million contribution by the province to help get that there opened, a compassionate palliative care center for those at the end of their life. And of course, we continue to build infrastructure, including the reopening of the 427 extension to Major Mackenzie, and I'd be remiss not to mention subway expansion further north into York Region. This is all because our Premier and our government is committed to investing and building this province, improving the quality of life of our families. So we're grateful for the partnership. Thank you to everyone who's part of this. And of course, I want to thank the people of Vaughan for your continued advocacy today. Thank you so much.
So thank you, and be happy to take any questions.
So we'll go to the floor for questions. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up.
Minister of Education, please. Minister Lecce, two questions. First one is, one school is closed in Toronto as a result of a COVID scare. Are there any other schools in Ontario that are in precarious situations right now? And how is the school, what is the outlook for the school? Is it going to be open soon? what is the Ministry of Education doing to help these students?
Absolutely. We are obviously working in partnership with public health units across Ontario to keep our schools open. We're very proud of the fact that 99.9% of our schools in this province are open, that over 2 million children are learning today in class. There are about 4,800 schools in Ontario, of which we're aware of 6 that are closed province-wide. This is the first in Toronto, but I will note that Toronto Public Health, the Chief Medical Officer of Health, all of whom have said the cautious, preventative layers of protection put in place in our schools have been effective at reducing spread, reducing outbreaks, and keeping kids safe. 3 out of 4 schools in this province, amid the Delta-driven 4th wave, have no active cases at all, but we are taking nothing for granted. It's why we have extended the rapid antigen testing program to public health units to deploy to keep schools open. And it's why we have taken a cautious approach in the start in September by launching a take-home test program, by requiring every student to screen and staff member to screen before they enter. The enhancement of testing, of cleaning, as well as the massive improvement in ventilation in Toronto specifically, but to be fair, in schools, in every school across Ontario. So we're working closely with the Chief Medical Officer of Health to keep students safe. I will note that in this particular case, there is extension of testing, including PCR testing, to the entire school community, which is preferred by Ontario Health, in addition to vaccine clinics to increase the rate of vaccines in that community for the students, the staff, and the parents, all designed to reduce the disruption so that we can get these kids back to class.
And next question is about, I'm requesting for an update on the negotiations with Ottawa for $10 a day daycare. We're seeing that a lot of the larger provinces and smaller provinces have already made deals with Ottawa.
Sure.
I understand that sources are telling me and telling other news outlets that it's the province is dragging their heels in negotiating with Ottawa. It's even when we have almost 40% of the population of Canada, it's turning out to be a money issue from Ottawa. Is that what's happening, or when can we get an update?
For sure. We have been negotiating in good faith the federal government for many, many months to get a good deal for the people of Ontario. Not any deal, a good deal that reflects the unique advantages of this province when it comes to our childcare system. The fact is, you mentioned 40% of the population. 40% was the rate of increase under the former Liberal government. And I say this respectfully, no government or no party should be defending a record of increases when we know childcare is the second most expensive in Canada. That's just unacceptable to families. The Premier came into office with a commitment to reduce the rate, which is why we introduced a tax credit, which we just enriched in the last budget. Now $1,500 per child on average it saves. That's not going to do it in itself. We still want a deal with the federal government. It has to be a deal that includes the unique advantages that include all-day kindergarten. So while we work with the federal government, we hope for a deal that is affordable, that is accessible. We're going to continue to make the case to our federal colleagues that we want a better deal. And I think that many of the newly elected Liberal MPs in Ontario would probably agree. We want a good deal for the province of Ontario that gets our kids affordable, quality, and accessible childcare. That's what the government is committed to, and that's what we're going to continue to fight for at the negotiating table.
Next question.
For Minister Phillips, please. Martin Traynor, CBC News. What's the latest information you have on the staffing shortages at the long-term homes? Maybe talk about the staff training.
Sure. One of the things that we've been addressing has been some of the challenges of staffing in long-term care homes. I was just this morning at Seneca College with Minister Lecce, meeting a group of what will be hundreds of PSW students and nursing students coming out of Seneca College that will be part of the solution. As I said, just in the community of Vaughan, out of the $720 million that we provided last week, so that homes can start to hire more staff, and those dollars start to flow next month. That'll be $3 million just here in this community to support that. But we are working with our colleges, private and public. We're working as well with the post-secondary system in cooperation with Minister Lecce to get as many PSWs trained and into the system, and it's just great to see the enthusiasm. And I think this is something that we're of course working with homes and with organized labor on as well, trying to make sure that we support the growth of PSWs and make sure that we have enough nurses, registered practical nurses and registered nurses.
Next question.
Yes, just going back to Silverthorne, I'll ask Minister Lecce about this. Is there anything more that can be done? Are there any discussions about further measures that can be taken in light of what's happened at Silverthorne to prevent other school closures?
Sure. The greatest intervention we can take as a community to reduce the spread is to increase the rate of vaccination. I'm proud that 82% of our children 12 to 17 have a first dose, over 74% have a second dose. We have one of the highest rates of immunization for young people and for all citizens in the country. That is an incredible feat, and I'm grateful to the people of Ontario for rolling up their sleeves to be part of the solution. In addition to increasing vaccine rates broadly, as I understand, Toronto Public Health will be deploying vaccine clinics into the community with the aim of encouraging students, their parents and siblings, and of course staff to continue to be vaccinated. This community has a lower rate of vaccination compared to the broader Toronto average, so that's going to be a mission and an objective of Toronto Public Health, as well as extending the PCR lab process test to the entire school community, which will include a part of the take-home test to reduce the impact for families. All part of the aim to get our children back to class. I will note that while they are at home, they will be learning virtually for the short term. And of course, Toronto Public Health, our public health units are on the scene. They're investigating the matter. They're working closely with the school, and they're trying their very best to keep the kids safe, to ensure they continue learning, and with the commitment to get them back to class as soon as possible. The layers of protection in our school, according to the Chief Medical Officer of Health, have been effective at keeping COVID out, reducing transmission. But with that said, we have taken nothing for granted, which is why just last week we announced another step, another tool in the toolkit to reduce spread, to increase safety of schools through the rapid antigen testing program, the screening program, which public health units can deploy where they see fit.
Follow-up?
Either minister can answer on behalf of your government. I'm just wondering, there's many people that are wondering about the recent changes to venues like Scotiabank to allow full capacity. You have gyms and restaurants that are wondering why there is this difference when you have large groups of people unmasked, eating, drinking, talking, what have you, compared to a small venue like a restaurant or a gym not being allowed the same capacity.
Sure. Certainly we understand the pressure on restaurants, on gyms and on other businesses. We should be clear that those facilities don't have strict capacity limits, but they have requirements for social distancing. And we work very closely with the Chief Medical Officer, who works very closely with our science table, and we want to make sure that we move in the cautious process that we have to make sure that we're making that momentum or keeping that momentum forward. So the decision around the capacity or the ability to have people attend at stadiums and other venues was one that was made in cooperation with the Chief Medical Officer. We will absolutely continue to work with him and continue to work with the Restaurant Association, with restaurants and others. But it's just very important that we continue on this cautious approach. We all want to get past COVID, but we're also able to see not so far away some of the challenges where some jurisdictions have moved quickly. So that's why there's a continued requirement inside stadiums for masking. That's why we are taking those cautious steps, but we absolutely are listening to our local restaurants, to our local businesses. We want to maintain the progress we've made, and that's why we'll continue to listen to the Chief Medical Officer and move through this as quickly as we can.
Next question. This will be the final question.
I know the announcement today. When do we expect shovels in the ground and the timetable to develop this area into an open door facility?
So I want to make sure, I think I heard the 2024? Yeah, so working, and one of the reasons, I mean, the mayor's here because of his great support for our project. It's also great because one of the important areas of collaboration is going to be the city of Vaughan, just like it is for all of our developments. So we hope to have residents in this facility by 2026, and that means shovels in the ground by 2024. And that's why we have over 220 projects right now across the province that are in different stages of development. But one of my priorities, and that's where I work very closely with local officials and mayors like Mayor Bevilacqua, is to make sure that we move as quickly as possible through those processes. Everybody wants to get those beds open. Everybody wants to get our seniors into the kinds of safe, comfortable, state-of-the-art facilities that we're going to have built here.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
guess I'm here. Yeah. Okay.
Stephen, you go up here.
Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by respectfully acknowledging that we are currently situated in the Territory and Treaty 13 lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We also recognize the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat and the Haudenosaunee. As a provincial representative of the people and families of Vaughan Woodbridge, I am very grateful to have the opportunity to work within this territory. It is truly an honor to be here today with all of you and to welcome my good friend